Polytopia got a big update with version 1.14. Luxidoor starts with a bigger capital. Imo starts with philosophy. And many of the tribes start with extra stars. So which is the best tribe now? As in all things Polytopia, it depends on the map. We'll go through all the tribes and rank them based on map type. Okay, let's find out how good or bad these tribes are now. For this video, we'll stick to 1v1 small size maps. Let's start with a 1v1 small size map with all land. At the bottom, we have Aquarion. As you might guess, Aquarion is best suited for maps with water because all their units have swim. Conversely, Aquarion troops cannot use roads. They get extra movement from bubbles on flooded terrain, a major limitation on these maps. Next in C tier is Polaris. They're not the worst, but they're still pretty bad. Like Aquarion, Polaris is best on maps with water because their strongest unit, the Battle Sled, needs ice to glide and escape. Without ice, Polaris is very limited. Vengir and Kiku go in the B tier because they're okay but not great on land. Vengir used to be a lot worse, but with the new backwards research system in the tech tree, Vengir can get mining without having to get climbing first. This is a big help for their economy. Kiku is best suited for water maps, but they have decent resource rates on land and are a T0 tribe which can upgrade their capital with the 2 fish immediately. A tier has the most tribes because of the recent balance update. The developers deliberately wanted to even the playing field for most tribes, and they largely succeeded. Thanks to these extra stars for Yadak, Quetzali, Hudrik, Chinchi, and Umaji, these tribes are much stronger than in the previous version. Imo still starts with 5 stars, but they start with the philosophy tech. This gives Imo a 33% discount on all the tech, plus they can still get meditation on the first turn for the Altar of Peace monument on turn 5. Illyrian is not as strong as they used to be after Polytar costs went from 2 to 3 stars. But income from sanctuaries and powerful dragons in the late game keep Illyrian strong. Barter is here because, yeah, they're a T0 tribe, but they have one of the worst terrains in the game and rely on 3-star lumber huts to build their cities. Lumber huts without sawmills is one of the least efficient sources for population, and it costs more to get that additional tech to upgrade the cities for giants. In the top tier for Drylands, we have Imperius, Zebasi, Saimanti, and Luxidoor. Imperius is generally favored above other T0 tribes because it has a 100% resource rate. That means every tile around a village in Imperius terrain has some kind of resource. This gives them a huge advantage economically. Zebasi was good before, but the burn farm's ability costing 3 stars now makes it easier for Zebasi to grow cities and get giants with windmills. For Saimanti, the Shaman can boost units for fast expansion. Boosted hexapods can kill a full hit point warrior and a defense boosted rider and archer. However, we know that the devs want to rework this tribe, so it may drop to a lower tier once that update is released. See a link to our review of the Saimanti beta rework in the description. Luxidoor moves to the top tier because they start with an upgraded capital and 4 stars per turn. With their guaranteed starting resources, Luxidoor also has the best shot at an early giant. More importantly, no other tribe can explore as quickly as Luxidoor with a 3-warrior opening while keeping that good economy. Do you agree with our Drylands tribe rankings? Let us know in the comments. Next, here's our lakes tier list. Vengir is at the bottom in F tier. Vengir is down here because they start with a smithery tech and a swordsman, which isn't much use unless you spawn right next to an opponent. Swordsmen aren't any better at exploring and fighting villages than a warrior is. Without the income to afford swords, Vengir struggles to expand and grow. Vengir suffers even more from the 10% fish rate. A link to the resource rates on the Polytopia wiki is in the description. Also at the bottom, we have Aquarion and Polaris. They're still terrible on maps with mostly land. They need water to do well. In C tier, we have Umaji. Umaji isn't bad on lakes, but it isn't good either. Umaji can expand well, even if they don't start with a tech that lets them upgrade their capital. There are 6 tribes in B tier. Hudrik, Chinchi, Quetzali, and Yadak are at this level because even with the extra starting stars, they are not T0 tribes. It takes them a while longer to upgrade their capital and get their economy going. Barter is in the B tier because it benefits from being a T0 tribe, but it doesn't have the economic potential that other tribes like Imperius or Zibasi do because, as we mentioned before, lumber huts are less cost-effective than other city improvements. Illyrian is here because they are slower to expand now due to that 3-star polytar cost. If you open with any more than 2 units on the first turn, that will delay being able to afford forestry for sanctuaries, and that will tank your economy. That polytar cost is a big limitation now. In A tier, we have Kiku and Aimo. Kiku gets stronger the more water a map has. Many lakes maps involve naval combat, and getting on the water fast is a Kiku advantage. Also, Kiku is a T0 tribe and has decent resource rates on land. Aimo is as good or better than other T0 tribes because of that cheap tech from philosophy. They can get on the water fast if needed. The strongest tribes on lakes maps in version 1.14 are Luxidoor, Zibasi, Imperius, and Saimanti. As with the Drylands maps, Imperius, Zibasi, and Luxidoor are economic powerhouses with the potential for very quick giants. Saimanti's boosted units allow for early aggression and expansion. We have strategy guide videos for many of these tribes. Links to those videos are in the description. Next, let's talk about continents maps. These are generated so that each player starts on their own land mass. Often, a single tile of water separates the land, so bridges are an option. As with other map types, Vengir is down at the bottom. With continents, since you spawn on your own land, you cannot rush swords to take out an opponent in the early game. And the low fish rates limit how much Vengir can upgrade cities on the coast. In B tier, we have Umaji. Umaji's strength is in expanding fast and early battles with riders and roads. Like Vengir, who benefits from battles in the early game, Umaji cannot use their riders to attack if the opponent is on a completely different landmass separated by water. Often, Umaji will go for bridges to connect and send troops to fight, but by that point, other tribes have had some time to build their economy and get a navy. The majority of the other tribes land in A tier. Good, but not great. Saimanti is not as strong on continents because their naval play is basically only Reichi, which they can't even produce from landlocked cities, and a proper algae setup takes time to achieve. Again, we expect a Saimanti rework soon, especially with their naval units, so their relative position may change. Polaris moves up because there's more water on continents maps for them to create ice and maneuver battle sleds. In the top level, we have Aquarian, Imperius, Zibasi, Kiko, and Aimo. Imperius and Zibasi are in S tier like before because of their strong economies. Aquarium moves up to the top because of the increased amount of water on the map and the fact that their units can move on shallow water. No ports or bridges needed to get to the other continent. Plus, Aquarion gets lost cities from deep water ruins and one guaranteed island city on those small continents maps. Kiku does very well because of their higher than average fishing rate and fast access to the water thanks to starting with the fishing tech. Aimo is here because you need a lot of tech, both for city upgrades and either a navy or bridges. Thanks to starting with philosophy, Aimo can get the tech they need faster. Finally, let's talk about the best tribes on the water. We'll use Archipelago because no one in their right mind wants to play on a water world. In the bottom, we have F tier, Vangir. Sorry, Vangir fans. Vangir is stuck on the bottom here for the reasons that it does poorly on lakes and continents, only now it does worse. Second from the bottom, we have Illyrian and Umaji. Since riders and polypushes are not helpful for expanding when you're surrounded by water, Illyrian and Umaji are very weak on water maps. In the bad but not terrible category, we have Chinchi, Saimanti, Hudrik, and Yadak. It's mostly because Chinchi, Hudrik, and Yadak can upgrade their capital a turn earlier than Illyrian and Umaji on Archipelago. As we said before, Saimanti performs poorly on water maps, but hopefully they'll be getting better naval units soon. In the middle ranking, we have Imperius, Barder, Zabasi, Quetzali, and Aimo. As with lakes and continents maps, Aimo does well on water maps since the discount on text from philosophy allows them to get on the water and build a decent economy. Imperius, Barder, and Zabasi do not perform as well on Archipelago since it's super helpful to have fishing as the first tech and get on the water fast. But these tribes you often won't get to fish to upgrade your capital. However, these T0 tribes have resources that allow them to upgrade their cities more consistently early on. Quetzali is here because of that extra health that naval units get from putting a defender as the base unit. Besides having defenders as the foundation for their navy, Quetzali also benefits from having strong giant potential due to their high fruit rates, which makes organization a good tech choice if they have poor fish rates. Luxidoor and Kiku are in B tier. Kiku does very well on Archipelago since they start with fishing and they're the only tribe with a higher than normal fish resource rate. Getting on the water fast and connecting cities with ports is a strong strategy for Archipelago maps. Luxidoor is here because they start with a bigger capital city and 2 fish. They can easily use the fishing tech to get on the water and get a fast giant for a juggernaut. Aquarion goes in A tier. Aquarion excels on water. Bubbles add range. Aquafarms and atolls grow cities and can get you a crab fast. Jellies in the late game control the water. Again, we have a great strategy guide on Aquarium. We'll put a link in the description. At the top for Archipelago is Polaris. Polaris is amazing on water, or rather, on ice. Often Polaris can upgrade cities with outpost connections alone. Spreading ice with moonies, then battle sleds for range is a combination that is hard to beat. Okay, those are all our rankings for tribes on 1v1 small maps. We also have rankings for all the tribes on different map types in the Poly Champions League for 2v2 and 3v3 games. To learn more about our team games and our league, join our Discord. A link to the Discord server is in the description. Okay, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite tribe is and why. Okay, see you on the next one.